Okay, imagine this. You're sitting at home with your family when suddenly, bang, something smashes straight through your roof and lands in your living room. There's no warning, there's just an impact. That actually happened to a family in Florida in 2024, and the crazy part, it was a piece of NASA hardware. In 2021, NASA threw an old battery pallet off the International Space Station, expecting it to burn up completely on re-entry. 3 years later, a small metal part survived the trip and punched through a family's house. Thankfully, nobody got hurt, but it easily could have hurt somebody. According to safety expert David Woods on the Pre-Accident Investigation podcast, their whole formal investigation was basically just a 4-slide PowerPoint. Think about that. After Columbia and Challenger, NASA used to write 1,000-page reports that dug deep into systems and their culture. Now a piece of space junk hits someone's house and it only gets 4 slides? This is a textbook example of what safety people call recrudescence. Big word. Yep, I had to look it up as well. It's about old risks quietly coming back because organizations slowly drift away from the hard lessons they learned in the past. So today, I want to break down exactly what happened, what this tells us about modern safety culture, and why this should matter to every single person working in a high-risk industry. Stick around because this one's a wake-up call. This video will be a fairly simple one to get me back into the business of making videos again. And if you like this style of video and want to continue the discussion, feel free to come along and join the Crew Fusion Hop Academy on School. It's where we break down the human side of our performance, how teams behave when it comes to incidents. We're going to talk about safety differently at HOP, and also what leadership lessons we can learn from events that occur every day. To put it basically, if you take a good look around your workplace and you're craving for leaders who can shape a great culture, a strong safety system and high-performing people, the Crew Fusion Hop Academy on School is the place for you to be. So now let's talk about what NASA actually did after this event happened. They sent someone to the family's house, picked up the metal piece and ran some basic tests back at Kennedy Space Center. They measured it, looked at the material and confirmed, yep, it's definitely part of the space station. This piece of material was about just slightly bigger than a Coke can. It really only took them 5 minutes to assess what it was, but officially it took them a month to decide what it actually came from. But here's where it gets really interesting. David Woods is one of the most respected voices in safety, and he called this out on Todd Conklin's podcast. He said their entire formal investigation was basically 4 slides. 4 slides for something that could have killed someone? Like, yeah. Compare that to the old NASA. Now, of course, the difference is there were 7 people died on each of these crashes, which is absolutely tragic. But after Challenger and Columbia, they did deep, painful, systems-level investigations. They didn't just ask what broke. They asked, how did our culture let this happen? And that's a massive difference. So why does this matter to you? Even if you're not in the space industry, this kind of slow drift is happening everywhere. Aviation, oil, gas, healthcare, construction, defense. We get better at making things efficient, but quietly we start accepting risks we used to treat as unacceptable. And that's exactly why I started the Crew Fusion Hop Academy. It helps organizations catch this drift before it comes up and bites them. So in this next part, I'll show you the 3 warning signs that your own safety system is slowly going soft, so stay with me. Now let's talk about what David Woods calls recrudescence, the return of old risks. It's like the risks we thought we'd solved quietly come back because we stopped paying attention. NASA had done the hard work after Columbia and Challenger, but over time that deep investigative mindset started to fade. This connects directly to 2 other big problems, the erosion of skills and the erosion of due diligence. When organizations start cutting corners on investigations, going from 1,000-page reports to 4-slide PowerPoints, people stop practicing the deep analytical skills that real safety work requires. And once those safety skills erode, due diligence disappears too. You end up with investigations that look professional on the surface, but you don't actually learn anything useful. Here are 3 warning signs that your safety culture is quietly eroding. Number 1, investigations get smaller and faster. When a serious incident or close call only gets a 4-slide PowerPoint, instead of a proper deep dive, that is a massive red flag. Number 2, people stop asking hard questions. You start hearing things like, it was just a one-off, or we've never had that problem before, instead of how did our systems allow this to happen? Number 3, learning gets replaced by compliance. Instead of actually understanding why something went wrong, teams just tick boxes and file reports so they can just say they investigated it. If you're seeing any of these in your own organizations, don't ignore them. This is exactly the kind of slow drift that catches people out. If you want to learn how to spot and fix these issues before they bite, head on over to the Crew Fusion Hop Academy on School. We're building a community of people who are serious about doing safety properly and not just checking boxes. Look, the NASA space junk incident should be a wake-up call for all of us, and an organization that literally taught the world how to do serious accident investigations starts treating a roof-punching piece of hardware with just 4 slides. It shows how easily we can lose our way. The skills, the discipline, the deep curiosity, they all erode quietly if we don't actively protect them. Look, at the end of the day, it was just a small piece of space junk that ultimately used to be a 5,800-pound pallet of nickel hydride batteries coming through someone's roof. NASA managed 2 years of orbit and pretty solid re-entry, yet a piece the size of a Coke can ends up going through someone's roof, almost killing someone. Luckily, no one got hurt. It's easy to brush off, right? But here's a quick question. Why didn't they point it towards Point Nemo in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? Why did it end up in a Florida lounge room? That's the question that should be asked. But here's another question for you. If you're not doing proper investigations on something like this, what's stopping the next one from being a much larger piece of debris? What's stopping it from becoming a meteor shower of space junk coming off the International Space Station? What's happening within the culture, within NASA, ISS ops, where this sort of activity is A, allowed to happen, and B, not investigated as massively as it should be? This is exactly how small drifts become major accidents. You stop learning from the little things, and eventually the little things stop being little. NASA did put out a short statement saying they would conduct a detailed investigation into their re-entry models and update their tools so this doesn't happen again, of course. Sounds good on paper, doesn't it? But here's what actually happened. A month later, there's still no public report, no major program changes announced, and nothing about new processes for how they handle routine jettisons from the space station. You're talking about the same team that controls the International Space Station every single day. If they're not doing deep learning from an incident like this, it raises a serious question. Are they really learning, or are they just saying the right things? This gap between the announcement and the actual follow-through is exactly the kind of slow drift we're talking about. The skills, the discipline, the deep curiosity, they all erode quietly if we don't actively protect them. So here's my challenge to you. Are you doing real learning, or are you just ticking boxes? Be honest with yourself. If you want to get better at this stuff, if you want to build systems that actually prevent the next incident instead of just documenting it, then come join us at the Crew Fusion Hop Academy on School. That's where safety professionals who actually care about doing this properly come together to learn and share. Drop a comment below. Have you seen this kind of slow drift in your workplace? And if you found this useful, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-world safety content. I'll see you in the next one. It's been emotional.